Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dr. Warren Graham, and on behalf of the Board of Directors of the National Association of Social Workers New York chapter, it is my honor and privilege and pleasure to welcome you to the 2026 NASW New York Award Ceremony. Tonight we gather virtually, but we are connected by something far more powerful than physical proximity. We are connected by a shared commitment to justice, to community, and to the profession of social work. I want to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished award recipients, our colleagues from across New York State and beyond, our students and emerging leaders, and the family members and friends who support the social workers we celebrate tonight. Your presence here reminds us that the work we do is never done alone. Every year, this ceremony provides an opportunity to pause and reflect on the extraordinary contributions of social workers across the state. These awards are more than recognitions of individual achievement. They represent the values that define our profession: service, dignity, worth of the person, the importance of human relationships, integrity, and competence. Social workers show up in moments where communities are at their most vulnerable and when systems are at their most complicated. We work in hospitals, schools, courts, shelters, and community organizations. We advocate in legislatures, support families in crisis, and build programs that strengthen entire communities. Often, the work happens quietly, behind the scenes, without fanfare. But tonight, we take a moment to shine a light on those whose dedication, leadership, and innovation remind us what is possible when social work values are put into action. As I stand here tonight in my role as outgoing president for NASW New York, I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to have served this chapter and this profession alongside so many committed colleagues. Over the past several years, we have navigated significant challenges while continuing to advocate to policies that strengthen the social work workforce and expand access to services for the communities that we serve. Our chapter has worked tirelessly to advance issues that matter deeply to social workers across New York, from workforce development and student support to policy advocacy and professional recognition. And throughout that work, one thing has remained clear: the strength of NASW lies in its people, our members, our volunteers, our leaders, and the dedicated staff who make this work possible every day. Which brings me to the person I have the privilege of introducing this evening. Leadership within an organization like NASW requires vision, resilience, and a deep understanding of both the profession and the communities we serve. It requires someone who can hold the complexity of policy, membership engagement, advocacy, and organizational growth, all while keeping the mission of social work at its center. We are fortunate to have such a leader in Dr. Shakira Kennedy, the Executive Director of NASW New York. Dr. Kennedy brings to this role a powerful combination of experience, insight, and dedication to the advancement of social work. Under her leadership, the chapter has continued to strengthen its impact across the state, supporting members, expanding professional development opportunities, and advocating for policies that uplift both social workers and the communities that they serve. Her commitment to collaboration, innovation, and equity has helped guide NASW New York through a dynamic period for our profession, and her leadership continues to shape the future of this chapter in very meaningful ways. Tonight, as we celebrate the extraordinary work of social workers across our state, it is fitting that we hear from the leader who helps steward this organization and its mission forward. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. Shakira Kennedy, Executive Director for NASW New York. Dr. Kennedy, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Dr. Graham, for those kind words of acknowledgement. On behalf of the National Association of Social Workers and the New York chapter, it is my honor to welcome you to this year's Social Work Awards ceremony. The Social Work Awards are one of my favorite events where we're able to acknowledge, honor, and highlight the work we do not celebrate often. The work happens in difficult conversations, in advocacy meetings, in late night documentation, and in moments when someone simply needs to know that they are not alone. The honorees we celebrate this evening represent the very best of our profession. Tonight, we gather to celebrate loudly with joy our friends, colleagues, community partners, and leaders willing to have those difficult conversations, shamelessly holding systems to account, and understand the value in letting someone know they are not alone. There are advocates, leaders, educators, clinicians, organizers, and policy change makers. Their work strengthens communities across New York State and reinforces the role social workers play in advancing equity and opportunity. That is the power of social work. At one time, at a time when our communities continue to face complex social challenges, from economic inequities to mental health crises to systemic barriers, social workers remain essential. And that is why tonight matters. To our award recipients, thank you for your leadership, your dedication, and the example you set for all of us in this field. Your work inspires your colleagues, students, and emerging social workers who will continue to carry this mission forward. To everyone in this room, practitioners, educators, students, partners, and supporters, thank you for the work you do every day to strengthen our communities and advance the values of social work. Please join me in congratulating this year's award recipients and in celebrating the incredible impact of social workers across New York. I now would like to introduce you to Janine Finch, the chair of the Social Work Awards Committee. Janine, take it away.
Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. And everyone, it's a pleasure for me to represent the Social Work Awards Committee as its chair and to join Dr. Kennedy and Dr. Graham in welcoming you to tonight's celebration. My remarks will provide information about the aims of the Awards Committee, the selection process, and how we will spend our time together this evening. Of course, there are many people to thank who worked on this evening to bring it to reality. Dr. Kennedy and Dr. Graham, thank you for your support and for giving us Kelly Moskos and Tanitra Partovit to assist with the work of the committee. Many of you have had communication with Kelly. She's been pivotal in assisting us all through this process. Tanitra has provided her expert guidance in the background, dealing with the technical aspects involved. Thank you both. We owe special thanks to the members of the Awards Committee, whom you'll meet as the evening unfolds. Let me briefly mention them now. Alicia Bryant, Darren Cosgrove, Sharon Mosley, Elaine Renfret, Dorothy Schaefer, and Allison Smith. I especially appreciate their commitment to this process. The committee allows and aligns with the power of the chapter to raise awareness of the social work profession, to ensure the awards align with chapter goals and purposes, to connect with the good work occurring within the state, and through this ceremony, to acknowledge and celebrate all of this important work together. So we come together tonight in the culmination of this process to bear witness to 8 awardees. By recognizing them here, we ensure that their passion, their strength, and the power of their dedication to service is acknowledged. And as their achievements are announced and celebrated through press releases and the NASW website and networks, these accomplishments will continue to inspire advocacy and change. The nominations received represented the broad range of work done by extraordinary social workers and social service organizations in New York. So the awardees come from across the state, and their accomplishments are inspiring. We celebrate them this evening, but we must also acknowledge their nominators. Nominators are the eyes and hearts of our chapter, and they deserve special mention. They recognize those who are serving in special and unique ways, and they take the time to record these achievements in their nominations. They assist us in ensuring that our aims are realized. We know that the nomination process takes effort, and we thank them sincerely for giving their time to submit such clear and convincing nominations. In addition to ensuring that the NASW New York awards reflect the general purposes and goals of the chapter, the committee safeguards the selection process. That is, to ensure consistency, transparency, and to protect the process from bias. We oversee the process of accepting nominations for selection. These processes and procedures are reviewed and updated after each award season. We survey the nominators to receive feedback and to consider their recommendations for change. Each year seems to provide new learning in how to better achieve our process and intentions. We commit to a blind process where each nomination receives the committee members for rating after a process of coding and de-identification. Names, location in the state, places of employment, ethnic or gender affiliations, all are removed from the nominations. This de-identification process is also applied to nominators. This safeguards that all nominees are treated the same, and it protects the process from bias. So, awardees, this means when we read and rate your nomination, we are considering the examples provided by your nominators on how you met each of the award criteria. Examples of your leadership, innovations you created, work towards the attainment of social justice, challenges you faced, special attributes and characters you possess, and all of this adds up to the selection for this award. Your sorting and selecting of finalists has been challenging this year. There are often several highly qualified candidates in any one category. So in this way, we recognize and applaud all who were nominated, whether selected or not. These individuals were singled out by their peers and colleagues, and they deserve to feel proud and to celebrate this fact. They represent extraordinary work being achieved in our communities, each unique, all deserving of applaud. This year was not unique in this regard, and we are convinced you will all see what we saw when you hear of the awardees' achievements which brought them forward to us tonight. Before I hand over to Elaine Rinfret, a member of the awards committee, who will introduce the chapter's student awards, I will explain how we will proceed this evening, so that you gain another layer of understanding of just what we are looking for in the candidates. Members of the awards committee will provide an overview of the award before bringing the individual forward who will introduce the awardee. Once the awardees are introduced, they are invited to respond. After each award category, another committee member will then come forward to explain the next award. We will proceed in this way until our 8 award categories have been presented. I will now name the awards committee members by the role they will play in the ceremony. As your programs indicate, Elaine Rinfret will start off by introducing the 3 student awards. These awards represent each level of social work education, BSW, MSW, and doctoral. Dorothy Schaefer will follow to describe the Emerging MSW Leader Award. Alicia Bryant will explain the Champion of Justice Award. Sharon Mosley will follow with an explanation of the Meritorious Human Service Organization Award. And finally, Allison Smith will explain both the Social Worker of the Year and Lifetime Achievement Awards. After the last awardee has spoken, the chapter's board president, Herman Sanchez, will provide a closing statement. So my congratulations to our awardees tonight, and thank you all for joining us for this evening. Enjoy what is ahead. Elaine, please take over to moderate the 3-chapter student awards. Thank you all.
Is here tonight. It's certainly an honor and a privilege to introduce you to the Student Awards winners. As a member of the Social Work Awards Committee again this year, I had the opportunity to read about some amazing students. So let me start by telling you about the criteria met by these 3 outstanding ones. So starting with the BSW Award, the BSW Social Work Student of the Year Award honors a baccalaureate level social work student who demonstrates excellence and an active pursuit of the values, knowledge, ethics, and skills of the social work profession as defined by the NSW Code of Ethics. The honoree exemplifies the mission of social work through their understanding of the social welfare needs of individuals, families, groups, and communities in diverse urban and rural communities. They embody behaviors essential for effective and socially just practice, and they engage in ethical thinking, self-reflection, and a commitment to lifelong learning. They are committed to anti-oppressive practice and to advancing social, environmental, and/or economic justice. They work to advance human rights and advocate for improved human services and justice. And finally, they are prepared to enter the workforce as beginning generalist social work professionals across multiple practice settings. So I will now ask Leanne Wood, who is a professor and director of the MSW program at Nazareth University, to introduce our awardee.
Thank you. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to introduce and honor a student who embodies everything we hope our BSW program at Nazareth University cultivates, or in Owen Malkowski's case, reinforces, not just in what he does, but in who he is and how he shows up. Owen is a sophomore social work major with minors in psychology, gerontology, and spiritual care. In just 2 years at Nazareth, he has managed to make himself invaluable and respected in more roles and settings than most students touch in 4. On campus, he serves as our vice president of our Association of Social Work Students, where he handles everything from budgeting and logistics to being the first one to volunteer whenever something needs doing. He's a social skills coach for our Academic Success and Accessibility Office, supporting fellow students one-on-one. And after just 1 year as a direct service employee for our Partners for Serving program, he was promoted to site coordinator, a recognition of leadership potential that usually takes much longer to achieve. Off campus, Owen works part-time in elder care, volunteers at the St. Anne's Nursing Home, and he spent last summer interning at Villa of Hope, working with teenagers. Working with youth was a deliberate step outside of Owen's comfort zone, taken simply because he wanted to grow as a developing social worker. He is also actively involved in suicide prevention and awareness efforts in our community. One particular moment that impressed our faculty when our student club was asked to lead a menstrual product donation drive, Owen, having no personal experience with the issue, stepped back first to see if others would step up to lead the effort. When this did not happen, he stepped up. He expressed no personal experience, but an appreciation of the importance of the issue. He did what needed to be done, and the result was about 100 menstrual dignity kits distributed to community agencies in need. This exemplifies Owen and his embodiment of both humility and action. Owen is also consistently professional, deeply respected by peers and faculty alike, and guided by a genuine commitment to social work values. Please join me in honoring and welcoming, as I think I turn it over now to Owen, as our BSW Student of the Year.
Thank you, Leanne. That means so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I am truly honored to receive this award and to be recognized by the NASW New York chapter. It is incredibly meaningful to be surrounded by individuals who are so deeply committed to the values of social work and advocating justice in our communities. I am currently a Bachelor's of Social Work student at Nazareth University. And throughout my education experiences, I've come to understand that social work is not just a profession. It is a commitment to seeing people fully, advocating for equity, and challenging systems that create barriers for individuals and communities. What has drawn me to social work is the belief that every person deserves dignity, respect, and the opportunity to live a meaningful life. Whether that is through direct practice, advocacy, or community engagement, social workers play a vital role in creating spaces where people feel heard, supported, and valued. My journey so far, both in the classroom and in the field, have shown me that justice is not always something large or visible. Often it exists in small, everyday actions. It is how we listen to people, how we show up for them, and how we choose to advocate, even when it is difficult. It is about recognizing the inherent worth of every individual, especially those whose voices are often overlooked. Through my experiences working with individuals and families, I've learned the importance of meeting people where they are. Social work requires us to approach others with humility, compassion, and willingness to understand perspectives different from our own. It challenges us to not only support individuals, but also think critically about the systems that impact their lives. My drive for justice comes from wanting to be part of that change, both at the individual level and the systems level. I am passionate about contributing to a field that not only responds to the need, but also works proactively to create more equitable and inclusive communities. I am still early on in my journey, but I am continually inspired by the resilience of the people I've had the privilege to work with, and as well as the dedication of social workers who advocate every day for meaningful change. This award is a reminder of responsibility we carry as future professionals and the impact we can have when we lead with empathy and purpose. I would like to express my gratitude to my professors, mentors, peers, community members, and also my parents who have supported me along the way. Their guidance and encouragement have played a significant role in shaping who I am becoming as a social worker. As I move forward, I hope to carry these values with me, to listen deeply, to advocate intentionally, and remain committed to the pursuit of justice in all aspects of my work. Thank you for this honor again, and I am truly grateful.
Very well said, Owen. Thank you for that. And congratulations on getting the award. Our next award is the MSW Student of the Year Award. And in addition to the requirements of the BSW Award, the MSW Award also asks that the awardee exemplifies the mission of social work through advanced practice in their chosen field of specialization, demonstrate the ability to analyze complex factors affecting practice settings, and advocate effectively for those who face barriers to achieving their full potential, that they be prepared for advanced professional roles, and that they apply theoretical perspective in their practice and demonstrate leadership skills. Our introducer for the MSW award winner is Professor Virginia David, who is on the faculty at Nazareth and the MSW and BSW program, and she will introduce the awardee.
Thank you so much, Elaine, and congratulations to Owen. We're very proud of you, Owen. Although a review of Abby's resume would undoubtedly underscore the multiple ways in which her work and volunteer commitments make a tangible difference in people's lives, with only 4 minutes, the Department of Faculty wishes to highlight the following. Abby has been a champion of alternative breaks at Nazareth University, which intentionally supports justice work and community identified projects both globally and locally. NAS Alternative Breaks connect students, faculty, staff, and community partners through an immersive service and education experience. Specifically, Abby has been engaged in this type of service in New York City, March 2025, competitively chosen to participate in a community service learning trip to On Point, a harm reduction agency, subsequently educating Nazareth community on harm reduction principles through leading interactive activities, prepared wound care, harm reduction kits for community distribution, engaged in direct service by distributing safer drug use supplies while upholding the principles of dignity and compassion. She has also gone during an alternative break to Port Royal, Pennsylvania. And this was something new for me to understand. She was chosen to participate in a community service learning trip in Pennsylvania to get an agari. I hope I pronounced that correctly. It's a USDA certified slaughter-free dairy farm, contributed to hands-on experience supporting sustainable farming and animal welfare, translated service learning principles into community engagement through later volunteering in Rochester. She's also gone to, again, on the alternative breaks to St. Francis Inn in Pennsylvania, participating in meal preparation and distribution to individuals experiencing chronic homelessness in Kensington, built rapport with guests through respectful and non-judgmental interactions and dignity-centered care. Abby is exceptional in her ability to comprehend, synthesize, and apply conceptual ideas, including the systems perspective to applied settings. As one example, she participated with the departments of psychology, religious study, and social work departments on a collaborative community event. She was the student on the panel. She was posed and articulate as they spoke on topics ranging from ageism to cultural humility, sharing insights with maturity and wisdom. She's currently collaborating with a social work faculty member to develop a continuing ed workshop on the history of social work in Rochester. And one of the things we learned when they worked on this workshop, which was new to a number of us, Carl Rogers lived in Rochester for a period of time, and also was at SBCC, right, Leanne? I'm almost sure that's where he was at Strong. That was news to a lot of us who really admire Carl Rogers. Abby Goldberg's impact over time reflects a rare blend of leadership, ethical clarity, systems thinking, and deep commitment to community well-being. As an MSW student specializing in trauma-informed care, she has improved practice environments and expanded access to compassionate, dignity-centered services for older adults and marginalized community across Rochester and beyond. Her leadership is most visible in healthcare and aging services. As an undergrad, she was at St. Anne's Community. She approaches resident holistically. One of the things that she does was she even taught her field instructors new strategies for electronic medical record documentation. They were so impressed, I think, with the quality of her work across the year that they offered her a paid position, which she held while completing the requirements in the graduate program. This year, she's at Rochester General Hospital, became a trusted member of the interprofessional team, writing clinical notes so clear and comprehensive that other disciplines rely on them. The field instructor told the school that a physical therapist had approached the field instructor. This is one of those unsolicited comments that are wonderful. That because of the clarity of Abby's note, I think the physical therapist was in a much better position to understand what might be the home environment, what was going on, and to be able to provide the kind of assistance that the patient needed. I mean, that's what we all hope would happen with the work that we do in a hospital setting, but it was really nice that it was unsolicited comment. As a longtime leader in Nazareth Partners for Serving programs, Abby has strengthened reflective practices among peers and supported thousands of hours of student engagement with the community partners, including youth program, food access initiative, elder transportation, and English language learning. Abby, I hope that I'm around to see what you do and where you go, because I'd like to say that I knew you when. In conclusion, Abby has been and will continue to be a leader on and off campus to embody the values and ethics that we believe are essential for any practitioner. It's been an honor to be part of her educational journey, and we believe she's very deserving of this award. Abby reflects this quote from Albert Einstein: "Strive not to be success, but rather to be a person of value." Please join me in congratulating Abby Goldberg on being NASW New York's MSW Student of the Year. And welcome, Abby.
Thank you, Professor David, for the kind introduction. I am quite honored to receive the MSW Student of the Year award. I would really like to thank from the bottom of my heart to the faculty and staff who nominated me, especially Professor David and Dr. Wood, as well as the committee who selected me. I really want to thank my professors, supervisors, and mentors who have both supported me and challenged me throughout my journey. Your encouragement, feedback, and dedication to this profession has really shaped my learning and the kind of social worker I hope to become. I've been super fortunate to attend Nazareth University for both my undergrad degree and now my master's degree. I remember starting my bachelor's degree, being a timid 18-year-old who decided it would be a good idea to sign up for an interview for a work study position in Partners for Serving. I remember doing it on the first day of classes. It was very much out of my comfort zone, but through that role, I had the opportunity to work with a variety of organizations in Rochester. Through those experiences, I discovered my passion for social justice and advocacy. Since then, I've continued to seek out opportunities like the ones Professor David mentioned, and all of those have allowed me to grow and engage more deeply in this work. So during my training, much of my experience has been working with older adults. Through these experiences, I've had the privilege of working with individuals who have incredible life stories, resilience, and wisdom. At the same time, I've seen the challenges many older adults face, whether that be navigating complex healthcare systems, experiencing isolation, or advocating for their needs and dignity. Working with older adults has reminded me that that social work is often about meeting people where they're at, honoring their stories, and helping them maintain a sense of autonomy and dignity during their most vulnerable moments. These experiences have strengthened my commitment to advocating for systems that better support aging populations and to continuing this work throughout my career. I am incredibly grateful to be entering a profession that's rooted in empathy, justice, and human connection. This recognition motivates me to continue learning, growing, and advocating for individuals and communities we serve. Thank you again for this honor, and congratulations to all of the award recipients. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, Abby. Already you have worked or volunteered across a very wide range of opportunities to practice being a social worker. So you have a really amazing foundation already. I'm sure that you will only grow from here. So finally, our doctoral award category. The Doctoral Student of the Year needs to meet these additional requirements in addition to the BSW, MSW awardees. So this person must exemplify the mission of social work through their scholarship, leadership, and service by engaging in research, policy, and practice activities, integration of scholarship and practice, excuse me, employ knowledge, research, and/or practice to advance human rights and eliminate structural barriers to justice, and demonstrate outstanding leadership skills. Sarah Acevedo, an elementary school teacher, will introduce our awardee.
Good evening, everyone. It is my utmost honor to be here tonight to introduce Dr. Joanna de la Cruz Romero. I met Joanna when she was just 8 years old, when I was lucky enough to have her enter the door to my classroom. She was not only an exceptional student, but a beautiful, sweet soul. Today, she has grown up quite a bit, and I am proud to call her my friend. She is La Doctora Joanna de la Cruz, LCSW, CFI, a Dominican American licensed clinical social.
You're muted, Sandra.
My apologies. I was unmuted and then I muted myself. Okay. It is my utmost honor to be here tonight to introduce Joanna de la Cruz Romero. I met Joanna when she was just 8 years old, when I was lucky enough to have her enter the door to my classroom. She was not only an exceptional student, but a beautiful, sweet soul. Today, she is La Doctora Joanna de la Cruz, LCSW, CFI, a Dominican American driven by her roots as a proud daughter of immigrants. Joanna holds degrees from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, BSW, and the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, MSW. As a school social worker for the New York City Department of Education, she specializes in empowering families through the complexities of the special education system, crafting IEPs, and providing critical crisis counseling. To further bridge the gap in mental health care, she founded En La Lucha Psychotherapy, PLLC, where she integrates creative modalities like poetry and music into affordable, accessible clinical practice. With over a decade of experience, Joanna's professional journey includes impactful service at the Kings County District Attorney's Office, where she supported survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault, as well as extensive work in a community mental health clinic. Her activism extends from serving on Brooklyn's Community Board 7 in Sunset Park to conducting vital domestic violence community work in the Dominican Republic. When she isn't practicing social work, Joanna channels her vibrant energy as a private DJ and spoken word artist. Above all, she is the proud mother of her 7-year-old son, Amado, and the wife of her best friend and ultimate cheerleader, Jose. I am so very proud to know Joanna and to still be a part of her life now. I knew then she would grow up to do great things, and I know now that the best is yet to come. And with you, Joanna de la Cruz Romero.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me? All right. Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. All right. So thank you everyone for being here tonight. Um, I decided to focus more on my why, and not so much what I'm doing, just because we just heard what I'm doing or what I have been doing. So I want to start with this poem that I wrote when I was 19 years old in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, Madison. And like Ms. Acevedo said, I am a spoken word artist, so this is really how I would just show up and try to express myself. So this is just like two lines from a poem that I wrote. I am I am bachata music mixed with hip hop. I am my mother's dream. I am my neighborhood's testimony. I am my grandmother's strength on the day she left her country. So these lines really represent my journey and essentially my purpose as a social worker. Um, with that being said, my research has, well, my whole life is focused on uploading the Latina community and my research, my doctoral research, which I successfully defended about 2 weeks ago. So I'm officially a doctor, is focused on the psychological trauma of immigration. And I'm introducing the term post-migration stress disorder, which seeks to provide a name for the effects of anti-immigration policies on the Latina community in the United States. So I would like to thank God. I want to thank my amazing mother, who I lost in October, for always encouraging me for to fight for what I believe in. I want to thank my grandmother for having the courage to leave her family and everything she knew behind to come to this country in the late 1960s. For I want to thank her for having the courage to start over so that I could be here right now accepting this award. When I think about what motivated me to become a social worker, I think of all the times I had to accompany my parents and my grandparents, my grandmother to doctor's appointments or government office buildings. I used to translate and fill out documents for them, and I would always huff and puff and suck my teeth and say I was like I had better things to do. Um, but honestly, I loved it. I loved being able to help them and provide a sense of comfort for them. As most of these times, the visits to these places were very traumatic and harmful. Um, my social work journey began in elementary school when I joined Mr. S's Drug Prevention Club, which Ms. Acevedo might remember. I became a peer mediator, so I would spend my lunch periods teaching my peers, whatever drug prevention was back then. In middle school, I was also a peer mediator, working alongside the deans to de-escalate and solve peer conflicts. And then finally, in high school, I was named the college office student assistant because I always spend my lunch periods, again, any free time I had, just helping my fellow peers fill out college applications, apply for financial aid. I even formed a Facebook group, and Facebook did exist when I was in high school, and I named it an inappropriate name about but like college applications are due, and people would post questions about the college application process, and I would respond to them. And all of that to say that I have been a social worker all of my life. um, i I will continue to be one for the rest of my life. This is the first social work award that I won, but I know it won't be my last. I just want to just give a few more thanks to my husband, my 7-year-old son, Miss Acevedo, who's been like my life coach. She was always available to write a letter of recommendation for me for literally every single social work job. She just always said, it's going to be a character reference. I can make things up for you because you never worked for me, which was fine. I want to thank all my mentors, my supervisors, all of my at BSW, MSW professors, my NYU professor, Dr. LaSalle Bryan, who's also an award recipient today, which is awesome to share the space with her. Um, and throughout my years, and I just want to thank everyone, the NASW chapter for recognizing me. Thank you to the nominating committee, to my colleagues, Odetta Keene and Gabrielle Terrell for nominating me. And lastly, like this award is dedicated to all the Latinas, the chingonas, la que no se dan por vencidas, to all the little girls with big dreams. For Sunset Park, this is for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna, for your words.
Elaine, you're on mute.
Elaine, you're muted.
Oh, you're on mute.
I'm sorry. I just want to say congratulations to Joanna. Her strong family background certainly fits with her desire to be a social worker, and she's already demonstrated that. So from here, I'm going to pass on to our next award category, Emerging MSW Leader, and Dorothy Schaefer will talk about that award. Thank you.
Thanks, Elaine, and congratulations, Joanne. It was so nice to hear your why, and thank you for sharing all of that with us. So, to just want to welcome everybody and thank everyone for celebrating our nominees. Everyone that we've heard from has been so inspiring, and really, it makes this night very special. I am pleased to give you guys some information on the Emerging Social Work MSW Leader Award. So this award honors an MSW chapter member who is at the beginning phases of their career. An emerging social work leader embodies the values, knowledge, ethics, and skills of the social work profession. The emerging leader is recognized for their commitment and significant achievements made within the last 12 to 24 months. Our emerging leader demonstrates commitment to community service and leadership, advocacy, social work practice, education, research, management, and leadership. Our nominee contributes steady and progressive leadership efforts within the social work profession. So it is my pleasure to introduce Yael Monsalis, who will be introducing our Emerging MSW Leader Awardee tonight.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, everyone. It's truly my honor to introduce Pilar Bonilla, MSW, recipient of the Emerging Social Work Leadership Award. Pilar and I, friends and colleagues, and have been an absolute privilege to witness her leadership, integrity, and relentless commitment to social justice up close. What stands out most about Pilar is her commitment to justice is not just an abstract. It is something she actively lives out in every space she enters. She consistently pushes systems to be more equitable, more inclusive, and more responsive to the needs of the people they serve. As a graduate of Silverman School of Social Work at Hunter College, Pilar is a founding member and a Member Advocacy Alliance co-chair of Payment for Placement National, a grassroots movement now spanning more than 60 chapters nationwide. Through this work, she's helped elevate a critical issue impacting the future of our profession, advocating for compensation for social work students in the field, placement, and expanding access to the field of those who might otherwise be excluded. She also founded the Payment for Placement New York Coalition, leading legislative effort to ensure social work students are compensated for their labor and that the profession becomes more accessible, equitable, and sustainable. Her leadership in this space has not only influenced policy conversation, but has also empowered students and early career professionals to see themselves as agents of change. I've also had the joy of working along Pilar through NASW's New York City chapter at the PACE and AGR committees, where her charity, courage, and strategic thinking consistently moves conversations into action. Pilar brings people together in a way that is both thoughtful and effective, building coalitions and turning shared value into real progress. Whether advocacy, policy, building coalition, or mentoring peers, Pilar leads with purpose, humility, and heart. Pilar, it's truly a gift to celebrate you and the impact you continue to have in this field and in all of us who know you. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating an extraordinary leader as an even more extraordinary human. Thank you, Pilar.
Wow. So, thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm not surprised because you are a beautiful person. So, good evening, everyone. I am deeply humbled to stand before you tonight as the recipient of the Emerging MSW Leader of the Year Award. For those who don't know me, I'd like to share that I went into social work. I started in 2021, right? And I kind of think of like, wow, what was I thinking? Because right after, and it wasn't after because COVID still exists, but it was a result of what happened to me and my family during COVID. It was the final push. And so I said, I'm going to go into social work and I'm going to overhaul the healthcare system. And I still intend to do that. Um, but then being a student and realizing that there's all these systems of oppression and how hard it was as a Latina, as a Black and Brown student to succeed. And it didn't have to be that hard. I thought, like, wait, how can I overhaul our healthcare system when social work has a lot of work to be done, right? Social work students, as a student, I know that, like, it was not easy. It didn't have to be that hard. Okay. Anyways, it didn't have to be this hard. I also noticed that there was a bit of a taboo when it came to talking about money. And again, that was kind of like, that makes no sense because our work is valuable, as are the communities that we work with. So why shouldn't that be a conversation? Why do we tend to shy away from that? And the way I see it, right, the devaluation of social work starts at the bottom, at the student level. And if we want all social workers to be compensated and paid their actual worth, then we need to pay students because why would a job hire you after graduation and pay you your worth when they can get it for free from a student? And so I am here today because I believe that social work is amazing and it is essential and a lot of inner work needs to be done and I'm willing to do that work because eventually I need all of your help to overhaul this healthcare system. Health insurance companies should not have this much control over our health. And leadership in social work isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about making sure that all voices are heard. In my work over the past few years, I have learned that leadership is a collective effort. And I didn't get here alone. I am here because of the professors who push my thinking and my fellow social workers who remind me every day why this work matters. I want to thank my mentors, my colleagues, the individuals and communities who have trusted me with their stories. And above all, I want to thank my parents, my mom and dad, who aren't technologically savvy, but they're still listening to this right now. Mami, papi, gracias. Gracias por todo lo que han hecho y todo lo que han sacrificado para que yo pueda estar aquí en este momento. Les quiero bastante, son todo para mí. And in case some of you didn't understand, I just told my parents that I love them, that they are everything, that I wouldn't be here without them because that's a fact. Because God only knows that there have been times where I did not believe in myself, but my parents have always believed in me. And I know that that is extraordinary. And I want to give, I feel like my parents really deserve this award more than anything for having to put up with me, for having to put up with me as a daughter. And God knows I wouldn't be here without them. This award isn't just a recognition of what I have done, but a commitment to what I will continue to do, to lead with empathy, to challenge inequity, and to remain a lifelong learner of this vital profession. Thank you.
Thank you, Pilar. And Alicia?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Bryant, and I'm one of the Social Work Awards Committee members. And I have the honor of presenting the Champion of Justice Award on behalf of NASW New York. This is actually my favorite award as a macro social worker, just because, when I think about justice, I think about the moments when we're asked to decide whether we're going to accept things as they are or take responsibility for what needs to change. Because the truth is, systems don't change on their own. They change because people are willing to question them, challenge them, and stay engaged long enough to actually move something forward. And that's like the heart of this award, right? So the person that we honor with this award represents that kind of commitment. They don't just show up, but they stay in the work when it gets hard. They name inequities and push until something shifts. And they don't just advocate from a distance, but they stand close enough to be accountable to the people most impacted. And that kind of work isn't easy and it's not always rewarded. It comes with resistance, it comes with risk, and a lot of the time it happens without recognition. But that's also the work that changes outcomes, that turns barriers into access, and that ensures people are not just included, but truly heard in the decisions that shape their lives. And that's what makes this award matter. It honors someone whose work doesn't just reflect our values, but moves them into action in ways that are visible, measurable, and felt in people's everyday lives. Because ultimately, justice is not just about what we believe, it's about what we are willing to change. So tonight we celebrate someone who has done exactly that. And it is my pleasure to introduce Nancy Claiborne, who will introduce this year's Champion of Justice. Take it away, Nancy.
Thank you. It's impossible within the time we have tonight to speak to Christiana Bess Giacomini, her dedication and her social justice activities. So I'm going to highlight just a few. Christiana's personal journey coming from a Black majority country. She never experienced racism until she came to the United States as a college student. She received support from her African American friends to understand the racism she was experiencing for the first time. From this journey, Christiana now sees herself as a social justice healer who works with all groups, as well as those new immigrants and people of color who engage in racialized practices to help them understand they benefit from the strides made by African Americans who put their bodies on the line. She does this with deep understanding of each individual, with compassion, and through truth telling. As a professional social worker in child welfare, Christiana was aware of the personal and institutional racisms operating within the system. She recognized the range of people who were unaware of their actions, causing harm, especially to diverse clients. Her years of contributing to racial equity within child welfare began by asking questions how to support these clients. One example of many contributions was her recognition that staff diverse training was not equally provided to those in power positions who were not expected to have the same outcomes. She thus advocated to the commissioner, resulting in the implementation of an equal and comprehensive training evaluation. Christiana also curated the Child Welfare Historic Timeline, an informative and creative exhibit developed as an educational tool to understand how child welfare developed into a punitive, more restrictive, and harmful system to people of color. This exhibit was viewed by thousands of people displayed at Child Welfare Conference in Washington, D.C., at an NASW conference in New York, and at Administration for Children's Services in New York City. Immigration issues are close to Christiana's heart. She co-founded the Immigration and Global Social Work Committee of NASW New York in 2017 in response to political targeting of immigrant rights in the United States. Part of the committee's mission is to advocate for immigrant issues and educate social workers on immigration concerns so that they can more effectively practice with immigrants. She also wrote the policy brief now on the NASW New York website, Upholding Social Work Values Amid Trump Immigration Orders. Christiana is also a scholar. Her scholarship as a university professor, whether research or theoretical writing, always has an element of social justice, if not the main topic, as amplified in her most recent journal article titled A Nation is Betrayed When Freedom Fails the Immigration Promise. She co-edited a book titled Shades of Excellence about the experiences of people of color working in academia. And she wrote a book chapter titled Racialized Borders, Black Immigrants and the Ethics of Belonging in the upcoming book edited by Congressman Levine. She'll be presenting at the NASW New York May conference, a good time to meet her and talk with her. It is my honor, with heartfelt congratulations, to present to you Christiana Best Giacomini.
Thank you. That was so heartfelt. I appreciate that. Thank you to the New York State chapter and the members of the Social Work Award Committee. It is an honor to receive the Champion of Justice Award. As Nancy mentioned, I spent the first part of my career working in the child welfare system around disproportionality and disparities, wherever it existed, whether it was client population or staff. And later transitioned to academia, where I'm now an associate professor at the University of St. Joseph. I'm especially grateful to Nancy and Martha for recommending me for the Champion of Justice Award. I'm also thankful and appreciative of my son and my husband for their patience and support throughout the years, because this kind of work takes you away from family often. Another friend and colleague of mine, who is Angela Washington, wrote me a note this morning. She said, "Your work honors our ancestors and lights the way forward." And that really touched me. So what I have to say is going to be following that. As I reflected on those words of encouragement, I'm reminded that I would not be here today if others before me had not spoken up and taken action. And I certainly would not be here or have the opportunities and privileges I have if people throughout history had not chosen courage over comfort. When I think of the people throughout history who have chosen courage over comfort, I think of the Maroons who refused to be enslaved. I think of the Haitian people who led the Haitian Revolution and fought for their freedom and the freedom of all enslaved people with extraordinary courage, even though the consequences of that struggle are still felt today. And I think of the many courageous individuals who began and sustained the civil rights movement in the United States, a movement from which I have personally benefited. I also think of the courage my mother, who at age 28 traveled to the United States and worked 3 jobs for years before she could be reunited with her children. So yes, I am grateful to my ancestors. Their courage over the years have motivated me to choose courage over comfort in my writing, my advocacy work with the NASW Immigration and Global Social Work Committee, and in my classroom. I stand on the shoulders of my ancestors, both in my home country of Grenada and in my adopted country of the United States. As I think about those who came before us and chose courage, I am reminded that justice has never advanced because people stayed comfortable. It has always moved forward because people are willing to speak, even when speaking carried risk. As social workers, we speak through our practice, our research, our teaching, and our advocacy. But there are moments in history when we are also called to speak more plainly and more personally about what we're witnessing. Whether it's injustice in the criminal justice system, the child welfare system, wars, racism, xenophobia, or religious persecution, as social workers, we must speak up. The poem I'm about to share comes from that place. It reflects what I am seeing in the lives of immigrant families today and what I believe is being asked of all of us as professionals committed to dignity, justice, and human rights. This poem is titled Speaking Before Silence Becomes Complicity. What happens when your government makes you disposable? When your community marks you expendable? When your ethnicity renders you vulnerable, or your race makes you a suspect before you even speak? These are not abstractions anymore. They are lived realities for immigrants and citizens alike. Because vulnerability does not check passports, policies do not pause before they fracture a life. We are told enforcement would focus on criminals. That was the promise. But the language shifted from criminals to illegals, from targeted enforcement to raids, and uncertainty in ordinary movement. And slowly, almost quietly, people began to disappear. Some disappeared in detention without due process. Some disappeared across borders as families were divided by policy lines drawn without tenderness. A mother deported while her citizen child remains. A father detained while his family waits. Family separation teaches children that belonging can be revoked. And many disappeared in another way. They made themselves invisible in their homes, in their communities, in the country they hope would offer safety. So ask yourself, what makes you vulnerable to being disappeared? Is it your immigration status, your accent, the color of your skin, your weight, your sexuality, your religion, or your country of birth? Or is it simply this, that systems built on exclusion eventually expand their reach? Speaking before silence becomes complicity is not about politics alone. It is about humanity. Because disappearance does not begin with detention centers and border walls. It begins when families are torn apart and we call it policy, when professionals stay quiet, when institutions choose comfort over courage. And so the question is not only who is vulnerable, but who is willing to speak before silence makes us all complicit. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Best. And congratulations to all of the awardees. It's very inspiring to hear the work that everyone is doing in social work. It's my privilege to introduce the Meritorious Human Service Organization Award. This honor, This honor isn't just about acknowledging a name on a building or a logo on a website. It is about celebrating an organization that embodies the soul of the social work profession through its tireless commitment to the people of New York. To be considered for this merit, an organization must do more than simply provide a service. They must mirror our deepest professional values: social justice, equity, inclusion, and diversity. Whether they have been a staple of the community for decades or a newer force, the criteria are rigorous. The organization must have proven operational excellence, demonstrate a profound impact within the NASW New York chapter boundaries over the last 2 years, and they must bridge the gap between policy and practice by championing human rights. What truly defines a meritorious organization is their methodology. They don't just work for a community, they work with them. They prioritize collaborative efforts, actively seeking feedback from stakeholders to ensure that the solutions they provide are the ones actually needed. We look for the innovators, the groups developing new preventive remedial approaches that change the landscape of care, whether through bold advocacy, groundbreaking research, or transformative program development. Tonight's honoree has made a demonstrable difference in the quality of life for those they serve. Behind every statistic of success is a human story. And behind those stories is an organization that refused to look away from the challenges of our time. Please join me in recognizing the dedication, the innovation, and the unwavering ethics of this year's recipient, JASA. And I'd like to call up Jessica Fetter to provide an introduction of the CEO, Gail Horwitz, who will accept the award for JASA.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Sharon, for that beautiful introduction. So good evening again. My name is Jessica Fader Mantell. I serve as president of JASA's Board of Trustees, and I had the honor of nominating JASA for tonight's Meritorious Human Service Organization Award. You know, JASA's whole purpose is to support and partner with older New Yorkers so they can live life on their own terms, in their own home, and in their own communities, connected to the people and the city that they love. Thanks to JASA's dedicated and caring team, consisting of a lot of social workers, 40,000 clients receive the highest level of support through a range of services that help them age with independence, dignity, and joy. Just last year, JASA delivered approximately 1 million meals to homebound older adults and to groups at our seniors across New York City. Our older adult centers serve more than 7,000 members with food, activities, and community. JASA also operates affordable senior housing locations where thousands of older adults have a stable home with a social worker on site who knows their name and speaks their language. Last year, our teams also helped 259 formerly homeless older adults move into permanent housing. JASA also became the first community-based organization in the country recognized as an age-friendly health system by the Institute for Healthcare Improvement. Our transitional care teams cut hospital readmissions significantly among our highest risk clients and support thousands of patients each year. You know, when an older adult leaves a hospital bed, JASA is there to make sure they don't end up back in one. JASA has also joined a coalition of 19 organizations in Albany advocating for elder parole bill and fair and timely parole act, because aging in the justice system is a public health crisis that demands the attention from exactly this community. And because staying connected is part of staying well, JASA is bringing free or low-cost internet to more than 2,200 households in affordable senior housing across the Bronx and Upper Manhattan. What earns this award is not only the scale of our work, it's the conviction behind it, that no one should lose their home, their safety, or their place in the community simply because they've gotten older. That conviction has held for more than 50 years, and it still holds strong today. Leading this work is JASA's Chief Executive Officer, Gail Horwitz. With over 3 decades of leadership across government, higher education, and the nonprofit sector, she has dedicated her career to strengthening public institutions and expanding opportunity for New Yorkers. It is my honor and please join me in welcoming Sue.
Thank you, Jessica, and thank you to NASW New York for this recognition. I want to congratulate all of tonight's honorees. There's been some incredibly inspirational stories and words, and I'm deeply grateful to be able to participate. And actually, I accept this Meritorious Human Services Organization Award on behalf of every person at JASA. Somebody said it earlier, we don't do this work alone, we do this together. So on behalf of our social workers, our case managers, our housing staff, our meal delivery drivers, and all of our volunteers, thank you, thank you, thank you. Jessica spoke about JASA's work, and we were founded more than 50 years ago on a conviction I carry with me every day that growing older should not mean growing invisible, growing unsafe, or growing alone. Our mission is to help older New Yorkers remain in their communities with dignity and autonomy. Now, a half century later, our work reaches more than 40,000 older adults a year across housing, healthcare, mental health, and elder justice. The idea is simple. People shouldn't have to leave their communities. Bring the support to them. And it's not one program. We have more than 20 core services and hundreds of staff who are connected by the same principle. Show up for people on their own terms and help them hold on to what they have built. To the social workers who have joined us tonight, I have a simple message. What you do matters. You chose a profession that often does not get enough credit. The work is not always glamorous, but it is essential. We see what you do. We see home visits in bad weather. We see the hours in housing court. We see the staff at our older adult centers who show up with a cake for a member's centennial birthday. We see the hours spent counseling clients. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We cannot do our work without you. We will keep doing this work, and we are grateful to NASW New York, to our partners, and above all to the JASA team for this recognition tonight. Thank you all.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Allison Smith, and I am here with you tonight to continue to celebrate our awardees. We've heard so much from the full spectrum of social work students to the accomplishments of so many individuals and organizations. And with that, right, comes dedication to the work of social work. And so I want to talk a little bit about the Social Worker of the Year Award, a very special award because it honors a social worker who brings the heart, values, and ethics of our profession to life. Someone who doesn't just talk about making a difference, but lives it through their work, from community engagement, daily interactions. They exemplify social work values and ethics. They demonstrate a persistent commitment to anti-oppressive practice and advancing social, environmental, and economic justice. They show consistent and progressively outstanding leadership in the field, and they contribute to the public's knowledge and understanding of social work. So I would like to bring forward our nominator for the Social Worker of the Year Award, Erica Sandoval, to introduce our awardee.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. I am so honored. It's a true pleasure to nominate Laudy Burgos for the Social Work of the Year Award. Laudy is a dedicated leader, a tireless advocate, and an exceptional colleague with nearly 30 years of experience in the field. And just over the past year, I've watched her grow above and beyond in her roles. Laudy's mission is to decrease barriers to care, and all of her leadership roles exemplify this. She is currently the Associate Director at Mount Sinai Hospital in the Department of Social Work, where she's not only an integral part of the program organization, but also acts as a mentor and role model for the most incredible emerging social work leaders and the next generation of social work mentors. Laudy has also been a valuable part of the nonprofit Siembra Today, an organization dedicated to breaking down barriers to care in communities marginalized by society. She stepped up as the chair of education to coordinate our CE program. And with her help, we have been able to provide CEs to hundreds of social workers and mental health providers for free. This past year, Laudy took on a bigger role as a second vice chair, and again, demonstrating her commitment to advocacy and anti-oppressive practice. I want to expand more on Laudy's commitment to uplifting the next generation. I first met Laudy during the pandemic, and during that time, I was the president at NASW New York City chapter, and it was incredible to connect with other medical social workers during this really difficult time. And then she became a contributing author to the book series Latinx and Social Work, and returned as a madrina, where she sponsored young Latina social workers and provided guidance throughout the process. Her impact is shown in her mentor's statement of thanks in the book. Her mentor, Vivian, says, "Thank you to Laudy Burgos, my madrina in social work, for sponsoring and mentoring me. The knowledge and love that you shared with me throughout this experience is something I will hold on to forever. Thank you for helping me ease into the medical social work field and also see me and know that I am more than capable of being a hospital social worker." And I just want to say that she mentored someone that's not even in New York, is in California. Time and time again, this past year, Laudy has had tangible impact on the next generation of social workers, and she paves the way for a culturally humble future of the profession. So I am so honored to invite Laudy forward to accept the Social Worker of the Year. She's an incredible social worker, and you're so deserving of this. Congratulations, Laudy.
Thank you so much, Erica, and good evening, everyone. I am deeply, deeply honored to receive this recognition from the National Association of Social Workers, New York chapter. To be named Social Worker of the Year among so many colleagues who lead with heart, skill, and unwavering commitment is truly humbling. I also want to take a moment to congratulate my fellow award recipients being honored today, especially Dr. Linda Lausell Bryant, who is a mentor and an inspiration. It is a privilege to be in community with you and to celebrate the incredible work happening across our profession. I want to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to my nominator, Erica Sandoval. Erica is an incredible social worker whose dedication, integrity, and care for both clients and colleagues truly reflect the best of our profession. It means so much to be seen and nominated by someone I respect and love so deeply. Thank you. Social work is not easy work. It asks us to sit in the discomfort, to hold space for pain, to witness injustice, and still believe every single day that change is possible. This award is not just about me. It reflects the collective work of social workers across our city and state who show up in hospitals, schools, shelters, courts, and communities, often unseen, but never without impact. And right now, this work feels especially critical. At a time when immigrant communities are facing increasing fear, uncertainty, and barriers to care, social workers are often the ones standing at the intersection of systems and humanity, helping families navigate complex structures while also holding space for their lived experiences. This moment calls on us to be not only clinicians and case managers, but advocates, accomplices, and leaders. It also calls us to confront inequities within our own profession. The need for diversity in social work is not optional, it's essential. Our workforce must reflect the communities we serve. And yet we continue to see barriers that disproportionately impact BIPOC social workers. The licensing process, particularly the exam, has been shown to be deeply flawed and to create inequitable outcomes that prevent many qualified BIPOC social workers from advancing in the field. As a profession grounded in social justice, we have a responsibility to speak up about this, to advocate for change, to ensure that our systems align with our values. I want to acknowledge and thank organizations like Social Workers for Justice and the Latino Social Work Coalition, who have been leading this work, pushing for accountability, equity, and transformation within our profession. Their advocacy is a reminder that change is possible when we come together with purpose and with persistence. My drive in this work has always been rooted in a commitment to justice, not as an abstract idea, but as something that must be realized in real, tangible ways in people's lives. Justice looks like being heard in a medical system that often dismisses you. It looks like having access to care regardless of language, immigration status, or income. It looks like policies and practices that protect rather than punish. This is what continues to move me in this work. In my work, particularly with perinatal individuals and families, I have seen how systems can both support and harm. I have witnessed strength in the face of trauma, resilience in moments of isolation, and the power of culturally responsive, compassionate care. And I have also seen how inequities, especially communities of color, continue to shape outcomes in ways that demand our attention, our voice, and our action. This recognition reminds me that social work is not neutral. It requires us to take a stand, to challenge systems, to advocate, even when it's uncomfortable, to lead with both compassion and courage. I want to thank my colleagues and teams who do this work alongside me every day. Your commitment, your brilliance, and your care inspire me constantly. To the students I teach and mentor, you are the future of this profession, and I am continually reminded through you why this work matters. To my family, my parents, my husband, my children, my sisters, nieces and nephews that are watching, thank you for keeping me grounded, for reminding me who I am beyond this work, and for holding me with love through both the hard and meaningful moments. I couldn't do this without you. And to the clients and families we serve, this is where I always return. You are the reason, your stories, your strength, your trust. It's a privilege to walk alongside you. This award is a moment to celebrate, but also a reminder of our responsibility. As social workers, we are called not to care only for individuals, but to transform the conditions that impact their lives. We are called to lead, to advocate, and to reimagine systems that are more just, more equitable, and more humane. Thank you again for this incredible honor. I receive it with deep gratitude and with a continued commitment to this work. And I want to dedicate this award to my daughter, Gabby. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Laudy, and thank you for all that you do in this work and inspiring all of us in the work that we do. It is fitting now to move to sort of the award that is the culmination of so much in this work that we do in social work, and that is the Lifetime Achievement Award. The Lifetime Achievement Award honors a current social worker who has devoted their career to this profession and 15 years or more of social work practice. They exemplify social justice, equity, inclusion, and diversity, and their accomplishments have a lasting impact and are recognized beyond social work as well. They demonstrate exceptional leadership, vision, motivation, support. They are creative and courageous in advancing anti-oppressive practice in the social environment, and they have repeated outstanding achievements with lasting impact to expand all knowledge of social work, and they are recognized inside and outside of the profession. They recognize a career of a pattern of service and justice, dignity, and the worth of the person, the importance of human relationships, integrity, and competence. An honoree who earns the Lifetime Achievement Award consistently breaks down barriers, lifts up unheard voices, treats people with dignity and respect, and leads with vision, showing that social work is a calling lived daily across roles and settings. So at this time, I would like Erica Sandoval to come back to introduce our recipient for the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you. I am so honored. Again, I really believe in all these incredible award winners, and Dr. Linda LaSalle Bryant has been an incredible mentor to me and so many of us. We call her a madrina, and madrina means godmother in Spanish, and she has been our godmother in social work. For almost 10 years, I have known Dr. Linda LaSalle Bryant, and she has been a person that has always persevered and has pushed forward. I cannot think of anyone more deserving of the Lifetime Achievement Award. During her career in social work, which spans nearly X amount of years, won't give her away her age, with leadership positions from the nonprofit to public sectors, Dr. Bryant wears many, many hats, and she has been at the forefront of various transformative initiatives, such as the Adaptive Leadership Institute and the Anti-Racism Pedagogy Program at NYU Silver. She supported me during the most difficult times. I recall calling her when I became the president of NASW New York City and having to pivot to virtual programs and trying to figure out how are we going to organize and bring people together during this time. What can we do to create such important programs? And we brainstormed. I had my mask on a huge Costco line. And she said, you know what? Bold, building, organizing, and leading with diversity. That's what we should call it. And guess what? That's what became of it. We hosted hundreds of social workers every month and having really bold conversations. This is not the only thing she has done. What stands out to me most about her career is how she exemplifies leadership from the heart. Her role as a mentor and madrina is invaluable for the professional development of Latino social workers and of all BIPOC social workers. Dr. Bryan has written about her legacy through the tradition of levantando, which means rising to lift up others. She's committed to mentoring and supporting the next generation so their paths are easier than hers. She supports the career development of current and upcoming social worker professionals with the goal of elevating our excellence as the norm and not as an exception. I'm speaking from firsthand experience as a fellow Latina social worker, lucky enough to have Dr. Bryan as my mentor and madrina. I would not be here without her. I would not have been doing all of the things that I've been done alone because Dr. Bryan has taught me that I can accomplish anything I set my mind to, but also that I need to prioritize my own rest. She has also shown me that nothing is done alone. We can only truly make change in collaboration and community, and not as individuals, but as a collective force. I am so honored to present this award to you, Dr. Linda Lissell Bryant, an incredible madrina to so many. Congratulations on the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you, Erica. Such love and respect for all that you do and all who you are. And what incredible company I'm in. People of such power and wisdom and compassion. I'm really humbled to be part of this group. And I've been in the field 40 plus years. I don't know how that happened, honestly. I don't know how that happened. And I've joked that, oh, this must be the award you get when you're old and you've been lifing for a long time, right? But it's given me an opportunity to really reflect on it's not just hanging around, it's not just being around, and it's not just accumulating achievements, whether they're publications, whether they're new programs or funding, that achievements are important, especially for those of us who are first generation college grads in our families, those of us who come from underrepresented groups like I do, first generation college grad, born to a wonderful Puerto Rican family. And I know that those achievements are the fulfillment of my ancestors' dreams. And so they're really important because of that. They're also the fulfillment of current up and coming generations and the ones who haven't even been born yet, because the message is we are capable, we can do it. Look, one of us did it, right? So this is critically important. But I think what I've learned, especially in more recent times, is that even more important than achievements, it's impact. And that impact doesn't always show up in the achievement of an accomplishment. Impact can be as simple and as subtle as a smile that says, I see you, right? Just that recognition. I see you. I see your brilliance. I see your talent. It can be a small interaction of encouragement. And that our greatest power is in giving those gifts and having an impact on others. And also recognizing that others have an impact on us, that this is not a one-way street at all, right? it takes a lot of courage and energy to defy and challenge the dominant forces, whether it's a dominant culture that says only wealthy people or people of this particular persuasion or that persuasion matter and the others don't. Well, challenging that takes courage and it's risky. And there are people who actually get harmed when they do take those steps. And that's why the collective is so important. We cannot do this by ourselves. We've got to have each other's backs. And those of us who have been out there longer, who may have less to lose than some of the up and coming folks, then we've got to be out there out front protecting the people who have less to lose. So I feel like I am a very imperfect, and that's being generous. I'm an imperfect ambassador for self-care. In fact, that's almost a joke. Like no one would ever take me seriously as a self-care guru because that's not what I've demonstrated. But I've been really thinking about what do we communicate and say when we don't pace ourselves, when we don't prioritize ourselves. And how can I be committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion, but then give the people that I work with my fumes because I haven't taken time to refill my tank? Do they not deserve better than my exhaustion? Do they not deserve better than my fumes? And do we as a people who are fighting for justice and fighting for compassion for people, we're in a struggle all the time. Do we not deserve to pause, to pace ourselves, to join with others, and then continue the work? And that's my challenge to, as I am receiving this beautiful award, my challenge is to say, let's focus on the impact, not so much the achievements, because we are a society that really celebrates individual achievement. But there really isn't achievement when it's not collective, right? There's not impact when it's not collective. So some of you may know the past 8 months I've been dealing with a diagnosis of blood cancer, a chemotherapy, and then followed now in the last 2 weeks by notice of remission. And that says to me there's an opportunity here to use my voice in a different way and say, let's not wait. Let's not wait to this moment where something befalls you to begin to take care of yourself, but to recognize that your well-being is tied to the success of the work, that your well-being is absolutely critical. And modeling that for the people we love and care about is also critically important. And when I say this publicly, like I'm worried, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but when I say this publicly, it's so that we can rally as a community to support each other in that effort, recognizing that systems are going to say, yeah, take care of yourself on your own time. Right now, we need you to be 3 people and be 4 people. And we need to remember that we can't be 3 or 4 people. But as a collective, we can get this done. We can keep the fight going. So I share with you with a lot of humility that I've got more to learn, even after 40 years in the field, and I hope to be able to serve in a way that in which I'm even more whole and more present, because maybe I'm not so exhausted and maybe I'm not running on fumes. And I think as a profession, this is critically important because we teach people how to treat us. And so we have to change the way we treat ourselves and model for other people how we need to be treated. And then we have to share that with the people we work with and for to help them do that as well. So I am just incredibly, incredibly grateful and thankful to to be in a profession where we don't sign up for individual achievement, where we sign up for collective impact. What an honor. And in 40 years, 40 plus years of being in this field, I've never regretted one day in my life that this is the profession I chose. I've had very difficult days. We all know about those days, but I've never regretted that this is what I chose because I've never had a day in which I didn't feel like I was living my purpose. And I've never had a day where I woke up and I was just kind of like, what's the point? I've always known what that point is and what I'm working for and towards. And I'm so grateful that I'm not alone in that. So thank you so, so much. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Herman Sanchez. I'm the president here at New York State. I co-share it with Warren. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. And thank you again. I want to start by saying something very clear, because right now it needs to be said louder than ever. Social work is not just a passion. It's not just helping people. It is a profession grounded in education, science, ethics, and accountability.
Yeah.
We earn degrees, we complete thousands of supervised clinical hours. We are trained in evidence-based treatments, trauma-informed care, we do crisis interventions. We are licensed, regulated, and held to ethical standards that guide life-altering and sometimes life-changing decisions. And yet, despite all of that, our profession continues to be minimized. But let me be clear, you cannot replace a social worker with good intentions. You cannot substitute training with empathy alone. You cannot replicate what we do without the clinical judgment we carry. And I stand here not only as a social worker, but as an Army officer and a behavioral health officer. In both roles, I have seen the same truth. People come to us in their most vulnerable moments, after trauma, during crisis, in the middle of uncertainty. And we are expected to assess, stabilize, lead, and care, often all at once. And this is not just helping. This is a professional responsibility. But with that responsibility comes risk. A few weeks ago, we lost Nick Cruz, a social worker who worked at the VA facility in Georgia, to a tragic act of violence. In December 2025, we lost Wilfred Aderechi, who passed away while working at San Francisco General Hospital. And I want us to pause, not just in silence, but in recognition. They were more than headlines. They were clinicians. They were our colleagues, and they were leaders. They showed up to do this work, to serve veterans, to support community members, to hold space for trauma, and to pay the ultimate price. And that forces us to confront a difficult truth. Social workers are essential, but we are not always protected. We walk into environments that are under-resourced. We carry caseloads that are heavy. We hold stories that are complex and painful. And still, we show up in many different ways, as we witnessed today and tonight during the ceremony. We do this because we come from a long line of social workers who have shaped not just this profession, but this country. Jane Addams taught us that social work belongs in communities and systems, not just in offices. Mary Richmond gave us the foundation for clinical practice and the evidence-based interventions. Whitney Young pushed social workers into the national conversations on radical and economical justice. Dorothy Height showed us what it means to be an advocate with dignity and power. They did not shrink this profession, they expanded it. And that legacy continues what we saw tonight. So today, during Social Work Month, I am asking you to do 3 things. First is to own your identity. Stop minimizing what we do. Stop saying that I just help people. Say it clearly and say it proud that I am a social worker, that I'm a trained professional, that my degree matters and my work matters. Second, honor those who we lost through action, not just with words, but by pushing for safer workplace, by advocating for better staffing and funding, by demanding systems that protect both clients and clinicians. because honoring them means making sure fewer names are added to that list. And third, to lead boldly. Whether you're in a hospital, a school, private practice, the VA, or like me in the United States Army, we are leaders, we are shaping policies, we are guiding treatment, we are influencing systems. We cannot afford to be quiet about that because at the end of the day, social worker is not going anywhere. We are in every system that holds people together. We are in every space where healing is needed. And we are in every moment where humanity is tested. So I'll leave you with this. We are not just anything. We are social workers, we are professionals, and we are leaders. And this profession is worth protecting, honoring, and fighting for. Thank you, everybody, for attending tonight's ceremony.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. I am so impressed, and so I will sleep so well this evening. Thank you, everyone, for all of your contributions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you everyone for celebrating these incredible social workers with